All right, trucks at Kansas. I'm doing my pretty much settings I do at every mile and a half in the trucks. Brake bias shouldn't matter too much, but I keep it low just in case it gets to a long run where you got to start dragging the brake on entry to get the car to rotate. If you really don't think you're ever going to use the brake in the race, feel free to up it to like 70 for pit stops. That's the other smart thing to do. Sometimes it's hard to get into your box as fast as others when you got a low brake bias. Alright, so this is going to be a full throttle hot lap. It's a little bit tricky. Some might struggle with being able to full throttle the whole lap. It's going to be bottom both corners. You can definitely full throttle the top, but it's not as fast. When you can full throttle the bottom, the top is never better, which I guess makes sense. So we're just going to set up, just kind of driving however, pick up our momentum. This is just the top line, really kind of simple to drive full throttle. Three is a little bit harder. You have to get a little bit more turn into three because it's a little bit tighter. All right. Oops. So we'll start down here. Gonna do kind of a late apex. We can't get down to the bottom too early, or else it won't really stick. So we just slight late apex it, and then just let the car slide up. You don't want to be adding any steering once you make your initial turn in, because that's just gonna be scrubbing speed. Same thing with turn 3. It's a little bit more of a turn into turn 3. But yeah, that should be really good. I mean, that's honestly about as much as you can ask for on that. There's not much to say on that. I'll go over it a little bit before talking about long run lines. The only thing I have to say on it is, if you're having trouble getting the car to stick, it's because you're using too much steering wheel. Like, especially in turn 3, think about how the track is shaped. Look up here on the top right. Turn 3 is always going to be a more sharp turn in. So we got to start it earlier so that we can use less steering to get there. Okay? So if you can get the concept of that, then we can be using less steering to get to the bottom. And then we just don't put as much force on our right rear tire. And then the second thing is notice how my wheel is just calm. I'm not trying to force it to stay on the white. It might be able to stick. Maybe I could have gained a tiny bit if I try to stick it, but usually in this new truck it doesn't. So if you're spinning early, it's because you turned in too late and you have to turn too much now. If you're spinning out late, it's because you're adding steering wheel instead of just letting the car naturally slide up the track, okay? So those are the two situations where you're going to have troubles with keeping your right rear grip here. And if you just wait for the car... Oh, my wheel disconnected. My wheel's been doing that lately. It hasn't happened during a race yet, so I'm lucky. Same goes for the race, too. Now, obviously, it's going to be multi-group because the top is still pretty good. But the thing is, on new tires, people love to run the top to kind of get around people. So the racecraft side of that is that if you have space to slide up to the wall and the bottom's just faster than the top in the first place, there's no reason to run the top. But the moment that you start becoming like side by side with everyone and they have the opportunity to take away your exit, so like if you can only slide up to like a lane off the wall instead of a full lane on, then suddenly the top becomes better because they don't have to change their line. You have to change your line. So if you're by yourself, I love this bottom line, right? And the shallower you can take entry, the better, because it puts less on the right front, but it gets a little bit sketchy on the rear. But I think at Kansas, you're generally okay with it being a little sketchy on the rear. You lift a little bit on the shallow entry, and you just kind of let the car come up on its own. Like, yeah, it's a little bit slower, and it might even lose to someone full ripping the outside, but if you have space, that's what you want to do. That's how you save tires. Let's say I got 2 car lengths in back of me, 2 car lengths in front of me. I'm going to let off a tiny bit on entry, let the car settle on the bottom, and then come back to it, and then just let the car slide up the track on exit. Actually, you know what? I could probably even keep the car low a little bit longer by lifting a little bit longer, but yeah. So let's try to keep the car on the bottom just a little bit longer here by keeping off the throttle a little longer. Like this is like perfect tire saving right there. Not perfect because I just did that, but that idea. Like you let off a little bit longer so you can keep it on the bottom longer. That's if you have a lot of room behind you. That's how you want to go on the offensive. Okay, well just freaking full throttle at the top. But look at that. It goes red. Like we are not very... See how we don't ever run off the corner? This only works if we are like massively side by side and like a lot of people are blocking and lifting. Like the bottom is just going to be good for the beginning of the run. So I personally think that you should want to be at the bottom. You can see that the middle too, you can full throttle. Like this honestly might be a slightly better play than the top. Especially if you have room to track it out. But you see it's not much of a difference. The bottom, chef's kiss. I love the bottom, like Kansas. But then as most Kansas races go, they transition to top at the end of the race. So let's say you go 25 laps or so. It'll transition to top. So what you got to realize is that you're going to have to lift sometimes. I don't have to lift right now on the top, but I'm going to show you my technique lifting at the top. And yes, the lap time will be bad, but I'm just going to be showing you the technique. So we want to lift and turn before the turn begins so that we have no shot of even ever sliding up. And then we try to get back to the throttle as soon as we know that the car is not sliding up. That's how people are able to run 2 inches off the wall. In fact, I'll do it this next time. I'll guarantee you I won't hit the wall because I'm going to lift and turn while I'm right by the wall before the car even has a chance to ever slide up. I could be even close right now, but I don't need to be. So that's how people run right by the wall. They just get that lift and turn before the corner starts so that their car is never even sliding up in the corner. If the car is never even sliding up 1 inch in the corner, then you can run 2 inches from the wall and be completely confident it won't hit it. So that's how that kind of goes. Kind of pointless to be showing you guys like fairly full throttle hot laps, but that's kind of like my race summary of how Kansas in the trucks usually goes. It starts on the bottom, and then as the tires get old, you can still more or less full throttle the top, and that's when you get multi-groove, top becomes better, wears a little more tires. Same tire wear because we're literally just like completely neutral handling right now. But yeah, that's how it goes. All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.